my last section of the paper, I went ahead and did the coloring. So for a flat wash, it just tells me to do an even flat value all the way across. The bigger the brush on the bigger the flat area, the easier it's going to be not to have strokes of your paintbrush. So I'm going to come through, I'm going to try to make this all one solid value or solid color all the way across. I don't want it to look streaky. I don't want it to look blended. I just want it to be one smooth value. So I'm going to try to control, make sure I'm using the same amount of water all the way across, same type of brush strokes. And I might go overlap my paintbrushes to try and get rid of any little lines that I might see. I can even go in a separate direction if that helps. So, flat wash, pretty simple. For my graded wash, I'm definitely going to do a smaller brush because this has more detail to it. In this one, I have a basic sphere. I have already shaded it like we have learned how to do spheres. So, for example, I have my darkest value, I have my reflected light, and then it gets up lighter towards my light source. In this scenario, my light source is coming from this direction. I'm going to start on the lightest value. And I'm going to keep my pencil or my brush strokes in the same direction as my pencil strokes. And I'm going to try and make this nice and smooth, so I don't see where one value starts and stops. I want it to transition between them. Now I'm going to clean off my brush a little bit and want to make sure I didn't cover up that reflected light. I went ahead and added in the dark shadow because I wanted you to see what that would look like if I added the shadow underneath. So there's a graded wash where I've used that information to make a sphere. Now my last one is wet paper. This is a totally different technique than what we've used, and it'll still work, and it's good to know you can do this. So what I'm doing is I'm just painting clean water in my box. Now I'm going to go into the box while it's still wet, and I want it to be wet but not a puddle. I'm going to just color right over top of it. It's going to feel very different. If I had done this on regular copy paper, it would have definitely ripped on me. If it's starting to dry, you can add a little bit water onto it. Again. But the more times you add water, the more likely you are to rip the paper. I'm not using a ton of pressure because I don't want to rip the paper. But it's going to have a totally different feel when you color. It's going to have a different look. All right, there you have.